The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Use code Mayo Underdog Fantasy right now and get yourself a deposit bonus of up to $100. Hopefully you won some money with the Spieth free square, the Scheffler free square last week, and hopefully we can turn that into even more money this week. And now is a perfect time to get in on fantasynational.com. The app is the thing that you're going to want the most, and it's going to be exclusive to all Fantasy National members right now. So fantasynational.com/Mayo. The Masters app was kind of a disappointment.
Buddy, they spent the first 2 days under Cam Young showing Adam Scott video. It was tilting. It was tilting.
I do like that this is the complaint that we get to have from those, though.
And our expectations were so high. It's like when the PGA changed their commentator for a week, our expectations are so low that they say something insightful, and we're like, they're the greatest ever. The Masters app was so high. Our excitement was so high. We spent months comparing every flawed app to the Masters app. So when it wasn't ready for the week, it was a bit of that kind of sucks.
Well, we're talking about the RBC Heritage today. We did our Masters recap already. That's out on the pod feed. Review, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Smash a like while you're here. And out on the video feed. We did it live with Joe. Then Joe jumped on a red eye, got back to Florida, and went straight to work from the airport. He's at work right now. Hey, Joe.
Joe is a champ. We did do the recap last night. A lot of fun stuff there. Also, it was before we saw Scottie's press conference, which makes me like nothing. Like if I thought yesterday I wanted a Scottie Scheffler scandal, after that press conference, I want a Scottie Scheffler scandal like times infinity.
It started out so nice too. He's like, I hate losing, and he's like, I can't lose because I have the Lord on my side. Like that's going to appeal to a lot of people. I agree. It just does not appeal to me whatsoever. It sounds like the only people in my life that talk like that, recovering addicts. So maybe that's the Scheffler scandal down the road.
Who knows? And looking at this week's board, it does feel like the prices, the books almost know he's going to withdraw because these prices feel like they're in, so they won't almost drop when he withdraws. It feels like they've already cut them, knowing he's withdrawing.
Well, if we just talk about it off the top, we can jump right into the pricing because we already did the recap. We'll just talk about RBC Heritage. He's 4-1 to win this tournament. He was 4-1 to win the Masters last week.
Yes.
So something is off with this. Although I will say that Harbour Town, a course where anyone can kind of be competitive if they run a hot putter, where that's just not the case at the Masters.
Yeah, and he hasn't won at RBC Heritage, and yeah, we've seen a lot of plotters go out there. Our Jim Furyk's, our Matt Kuchar's, right? Like they've made so much hay over the year at Harbour Town. You wonder if Scottie had beaten Jaeger, would he be more inclined to play Jaeger just with like a true
a straight withdraw,
like a Nelly Corda streak going on right there?
Oh, Paul's losing it over here. What's going on, Paul? We're still live, and we're not. I guess we're shooting this live. It's not live, but we still are at the Circa Hotel. We're catching our flight a little bit later on. The stadium swim is not bumping at 8:30 in the morning. It seems.
No, the music isn't. The bass isn't hitting the soul just
You don't
yet.
feel the floor vibrating on you anymore?
The reverb is not hitting us this morning, although there are parts of my body that are giving off a bit of a reverb as a post-Masters hangover always hits.
Jeff locked himself out of his room. Maybe more than once.
More than once, which is okay. That's an easy fix. You lock yourself out of your room, you show them your ID, they give you a new card. The big problem, friends, is when you lock yourself out of your room and you don't have ID. And then they have to bring security up with you, and it's a whole trip. They also did a wellness check on me yesterday.
What? When?
In the afternoon. It was really creepy. Someone just knocked on the door, and they're like, yeah, you've had your privacy sign up for like over 2.5 days, so it's a mandatory wellness check. And I'm like, oh, I'm here. I'm doing okay.
I threw the privacy tag on my room the first day I got here. We've been here for 5 days. No one came for a wellness check on me. They just don't care about me.
Well, maybe they've gotten reports. I don't know. So let's just say they did a wellness check on me as well, Pat. But I'm doing good. It's post-hangover. I will say it is very what's the word? Like my equilibrium is totally thrown off. I'm truly talking through golf bets, having no ability to make them at the moment.
It's really tough, and like I'm going to land back home 14 hours from it. It's a long trip back to Halifax from here. Paul and I are going to be on multiple planes throughout the course of the day, but I'm going to open up my app when I go home and be able to bet and have like 24K in my account now.
That's the thing. Even if
it's the most I've ever had in a gambling account at one time.
It has gone well. It has gone really well, and I'm excited to get home and see the accounts that I can't open here and see that there's nice money in there. And part of me has already acknowledged I did pretty well. Those accounts are bumping. That even if I lose some points on a golfer I like,
it's
because
okay
I
this
won
week.
so much money, I can just put a few more bucks on those golfers to make up for some lost points. I've kind of been on the internet seeing who's been popular, having no ability to make the bets, but that could be a good thing. Like to truly get like a...
Well, listen, you're coming in hot. Ish. You hit Jagger, you hit Akshay, and then you had second place to Scottie in the other 3 tournaments.
Second place, Xander players. I had, what was that? No, it was second place to Malnati with Cam Young, and then second place with Ludwig. So silver, silver, gold, gold, silver. We are swimming in the deep end every week, friends. I'm swimming in the deep end. And that's even come with some card discipline. So I want to find something else. Hit Fitzy here last year. Ready to fire. I was a little upset with some of the numbers this morning.
One of the highest rated tournaments of last year.
Well, it's a speed 3-hole playoff.
Yeah.
That'll get you a speed 3-hole playoff during dinner will win every time. He burned a couple edges in those playoffs, didn't end it early, and then Fitzy got him.
I was watching it with my wife, my friend, and his wife in a cabana in Napa.
Love that.
It was not warm at this time of year in Napa, by the way.
No, it
was like, I don't know, 60 degrees.
In the morning and nights here, like I have found out the hard way how cold it gets in the desert when that sun goes down.
Wouldn't really say Napa's the desert.
Oh, I mean, I was referring to here.
Fair. Are you going to bet Scottie this week? Make it your one bet?
No, but what about as I was, just enjoying myself at Circus Swim on Saturday? It wouldn't be the greatest content play, so that would probably prevent me from doing it. But the thought of truly taking the next year, just banging Ludwig single bullets with each ways, I think you'd come home. I think you'd get home safe. I mean that. What does this guy finish worse than ever on these places? His first ever major on like the course where it's not even supposed to fit him.
Why wasn't it supposed to fit him?
No, you're right, because he's long, he's straight, he fits every course. But just the intricacies of Augusta that take some runs.
Are you bummed that he's long and straight? That means you have no chance?
I wish I had a chance. I'm like, I wish I had a chance. But the thing is, I worry. He seems like without the Lord stuff, if he is as truly dominant as it seems he could be, he is just as boring as Scheffler.
Yeah, but here's the other side of the coin to that, though. If Ludwig is currently and goes on a Scottie-esque run, he's basically Drago. That you can build up the Americans to come and beat him, and then the American audience. I'm dead serious about this. Like being like a villainous European guy is good for. I don't think that he is a villain, but if he's a European who starts dominating and basically kind of looks like Drago to begin with, that he doesn't say much, he just kind of smiles, shakes things off, and is just basically the Terminator. That if he started winning all this stuff, you could build people around him. It's like sort of the opposite of what happened in the 80s with the WWF, where you'd have Hulk and they'd bring in these monsters, King Kong Bundy or whoever it might be, build up Andre and turn him heel so he can fight Hulk Hogan. You build up these monsters that Hulk Hogan can conquer. That's the way that you get Scheffler over the edge. You build up like a villainous Oberg, and then Scottie can take him down, and then all of America's on Scottie's side.
I guess
if we think about it from, maybe you might as well think
like
about golf and wrestling terms at this point.
He's a clean-cut kid who went to college in America. Like, I don't know. That's going to be a hard spin.
See, I disagree. Like, it's hard to spin it for Rory being a villain because Rory is legitimately my size. Like, no one's like villain, like unless he was like super sneaky like Patrick Reed, which he doesn't seem to be. But are you really going to be sweating this like 5'8" Irishman who weighs 165 pounds? Ludwig he looks like a monster. He looks like he was a robot built to dominate a golf.
Yeah. It was so cool.
Do you like him this week? You gonna bet him at 14
I
to
want
1?
to say I had my big 100 to 1, not as big as Baroff's, who had an enormous one.
You were walking on this ledge back here. Me, Paul, and Joe were watching you from in here, and you were just pacing, looking at your phone, looking up at the screen, looking back down, pacing back and forth like a lunatic.
That's what I do on Sundays during majors. I'm pacing, and I'm not in front of like a 300-foot screen with 17 different feeds on it. It was a sensory overload while I was in a bit of a sweat that kind of never really felt like a sweat, but to think that...
It never felt like you were going to win.
No, but to think that Ludwig beat every human golfer was nice. By 3 strokes.
Who didn't have the Lord on their side.
Yeah.
Do you think God is helping Scottie cheat? Like, is that something that we should be factoring in here?
No, like
God
God's
is on his
helping him
side?
Pull out? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't like. He's the type of guy that some of us is. I don't think the baby's. Well, maybe the baby's gonna slow him down because he seems like a. I don't want to throw any shade at like some dads, but he seems like a dad that like might need to be overly involved.
Like me. That's why I can't do certain things. I'm overly involved. I'm just there.
Yeah,
And it does, and like for a while, it did take away from like some of the content that I was doing. I just didn't do as much.
Yeah, like he seems like a dad that's like, you know, like he seems like the dad that will hire one less nanny because he wants to do it, even though he could afford 15 nannies.
Yeah, he wants to be a good dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does strike me as someone who would want to be a good dad.
Yes.
He seems like a good dude.
Yeah, no, so I like maybe he will like practice a bit like a bit less. I don't know that it will matter.
I mean, but you can always tie it to that narrative as well. I mean, let's not forget, Scottie, it's not quite the run that he's on right now, but he won 4 times, including the Masters 2 years ago. Then he didn't win again until the Players the next year.
I know, but that was like Scottie. We're like in a 2.0 now.
It feels different, but it's not all that dissimilar to his run from Phoenix through the Masters 2 years ago.
You're right, and the baby could put him on a totally different summer track.
And we've seen it. Guys that win the Masters
Don't win again.
just the rest of their year is kind of like a write-off at this point.
No, yeah, Rahm has not won a tournament, period.
Correct.
Scottie, you mentioned that whole run.
Took a year, and he was coming like top 5 and everything. Remember,
And didn't DJ, even after his crazy run, go on a long hiatus?
yeah, and he won like 3 times going into the tournament, and then I don't think he won again until Live.
So yeah, in that respect, maybe it gives us something to glom onto. What's annoying about this week, though, is I feel like at least the odds that are up now, you know, being on the West Coast, I wasn't part of like the 6 a.m. drops.
I can tell you, I mean, I'm looking at all the numbers now. Because I didn't look at the numbers when I first woke up. I assume Fleetwood opened bigger than 20 and everyone bet him.
But it was like 25.
Good call on that one, Tommy.
It was like 25-28. It wasn't even like something amazing.
No, but still, I mean, Fleetwood looked good.
Cantley too. Cantley got touted big this morning. He was in the mid-20s and he's gotten crushed, I think, this morning.
Okay, well, I'll take a double pass on those
No,
guys.
but that's what I mean. So it's in a sense that I normally, like, I'd probably have 2 or 3 bets right now, thinking, I want to get the number, a little CLV, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, there's one guy that I woke up that I wanted to bet, and I saw he was at 90 to 1. It was Tom Kim.
Yeah,
Now he's down to
gotten
66 to
crushed.
1.
He's gotten
Ugh,
absolutely annihilated. He was
Ugh.
actually over 100.
gross.
I'm hoping I got some friends with an account that did me a favor. I think I did, but it wouldn't have been big enough because they maxed out themselves, but I appreciate all favors.
You are correct, though, that these odds are indicative of a Scottie Scheffler withdrawal.
Yeah, but do you think they'll even knock them more?
Yeah, they will.
They'll knock them a touch more, but they've already knocked them, fully expecting him not to be here.
I mean, maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not true, because this is no different, really, than what we saw at Bay Hill.
I guess. It feels really stacked. It feels really crunched. I don't like much.
So the favorite, obviously 4 to 1, is Scottie, and then we go Xander and Rory 11 and 12, Ludwig 14 to 1, Cantlay 18, Fleetwood 20, Fitz 22, defending champ, Homa 22, Morikawa 25, Zal 20.
That could be me.
Morikawa 25.
No, Zal.
I don't know if I love Zal in a putting contest. This tournament's a putting contest.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Furyk, Kuchar, even Fitzy.
Super small greens at Harbour Town, like being on point, like it's irons and it's no different than any of the other Pete Dye courses.
Who's been winning? Just Kisner won here, right?
No, Kisner came second here to Furyk, I believe. Kisner ended up winning at Colonial.
Oh, this was your biggest weekend ever before this past weekend. With
I actually think I won more with Kadira because I won 20K, but that was US. So that was really like, especially at the time, that was like 30K.
That was a crusher because I had Siwoo missing those 4-footers.
I
was happy for my friends.
I had Siwoo as an outright that week. It's funny how that works.
Speaking of markets cornered, I've got 2/3 of my Halloween costume now with my Circa hat. I'll have my Nautica shirt, and all I got to do is get a notebook. So speaking of cornered markets.
What you just said about Ludwig earlier, just single bulleting Ludwig with an each way, I was thinking about just doing that with Cam Young. Another top 10.
33.
5 and 8 majors.
I'm not going to lie. I saw the 33, and it's at a site that also offers an enhanced. So when we're done, I might be texting someone at home to see if there's even a juiced up from that 33. And I was looking. There were some 40s on Cam to win the PGA Championship. And people will make fun of me if I do it, but I feel like I'm in now, folks.
I might actually go back to Thigala here at 40. Now, he didn't have a good week. He didn't have a bad week. He just didn't have a good week.
So we're going to keep this going based on the fact that this is also whose course? Who loves it here?
Spieth.
So if I know it didn't work last week, but to keep stretching that thread, this would work here.
It's funny because Spieth didn't love this course until it became a signature event. Like, he was second last year. He won it the year. No, it wasn't a signature the year that he won, but he beat Cantlay. We won a bunch of money on that. That was nice. In the playoff that year, when you remember Cantlay got like fried egged on the playoff hole and he just couldn't get it out of the bunker. But before that, like, he was not good here. So I don't know what we do with that. Cantlay has historically been very good, except for 2021 when he missed the cut. Cam Davis, another one. I assume everyone bet him this morning.
I don't know what he started at, but I'm sure he was popular. But what about dudes that just good players that miss the cut? Hasn't that been a nice thing to go on at Heritage?
It was before it became a signature event.
Or before all the good players actually made the cut. Well, Spieth and Thomas
missed the cut. I guess Lowry ended up making the cut. Where's
Wyndham?
Lowry's best in market is 60. I would do that again this week. Remember when Lowry should have won this tournament and he putted himself out of the tournament on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, you bet Lowry at 50 to 1 to win the Masters. You can bet him at 60 to 1 to win the goddamn Heritage.
Where he's played really well. Yeah. And Shane Lowry lost 8 strokes putting last week at Augusta. Now, his tee to green and especially his approach numbers were super enhanced because it's same as Cantlay's. Like, if people are looking into, the metrics from last week at the Masters, you've got to go to Cantlay. Dude jarred it from the middle of the fairway twice. Like, it's going to enhance your approach numbers to a point where they're not realistic anymore because you gain so much on 2 shots. It's like if someone makes a hole-in-one during the course of a round, like, their strokes gained approach numbers just fly off the chart. You'd be better off dropping the best, dropping the bottom, and just see how they actually played throughout the course of the week. So with Lowry, I'd want to dig into that a little bit more, but I think what you said is true, that 60 to 1. I bet him at 50 last week. Bad bet, by the way. Wasn't immune to some bad, like, all my outrights were pretty bad last week. I'm glad I got bailed out. I hope if you hit the to make the cut parlay that was in the Mayo Media newsletter, leave it down in the description. I heard from a ton of people on Twitter about it, so that's awesome. There's nothing more. That's the one thing that I really like about betting over DFS. We can just all win. It's nice when we can all win.
And, like, you got to give that warning. Don't think you're running it back at the PGA Championship.
No, it's just the Masters. And even I had even said that the market at the Masters. The only reason I did it was someone was like, "Well, can you just make one?" I was like, "Yeah, I might as well." And I would walk through the process. And it's funny because VJ ended up making the cut, and Ola Thalbal ended up making the cut. And usually it's like, well, there's like 10 duds at the bottom of the field who aren't going to make it. So it's really top 50 in a 75-person field coming in. That didn't actually turn out to be the case because so many of the bigger names, Vic, Thomas, and Spieth, ended up missing. Wyndham Clark ends up missing. Would you go back to Wyndham Clark here because it feels like he is underpriced as well?
Yeah, potentially. I will circle around all those high-end names who missed the cut. I'm not really here for Justin Thomas anythings, and I don't care much for the Spieth. But yeah, so that would be Wyndham Clark would be the best player of that group for me. Or Sam Burns, if that's something you needed.
Siwoo is only 2 events away from the Siwoo Slam, and Henley's getting pretty close too for like the Pete Dye and adjacent course Slam. So you get Wyndham, and you get Sony, which is not a Pete Dye course. Colonial would be on that list. Sawgrass is on that list. This one is on this list. And I'd say that Amex is the other one that's on the list as well. You just blindly, like, they know people want to blindly bet Siwoo at 40. It's there for the taking.
It's too short, right?
It feels too short, but is it? Like, really? Like, even Harmon at 50. Is Harmon the guy who missed the cut who comes back out? Or did he peak and now he's done?
He is that.
He's perfect for this course.
He is the profile of the player that we would probably in the non-elevated years be like circling around, those player profiles.
Yeah, accurate.
Putter,
and if he plays well enough, it's not like he's going to be hitting a bunch of 220-yard approaches on par fours this week like he was last week. No, he's going to get into like relative wedge range, try to hit some small greens and make some putts. Kirk would be another one I'd look at here. Maybe Ben Ann. Ben Ann 75-1. It's funny that Chris Kirk or Cam Davis gets steamed. I assume he got steamed because he's at 66-1 when he most definitely should not be. And Tom Kim gets steamed. I understand the Tom Kim stuff because people who have won Wyndham, the Wyndham Championship, have done really well at this course as well. Like even someone like JT Poston, CT Pan is another one. And Ben Ann's been in the mix of both these for a while. I think Ben Ann would be a bet for me here at 75-1.
He's playing lovely, and you're right. He's not getting, because he never truly peaked on the leaderboard like Cam Davis. He just sort of loitered in 10th to 20th place, it felt like, all week, that he's not getting the bump that guys who actually got to the true first page at a moment feel like they may have gotten this week.
Denny, 80-1.
Course fit. You know what? That might be a play.
I mean, I never bet
the
Denny.
Joe vibes. I don't know.
Yeah, Joe. I didn't realize Joe and Denny were like best friends.
Joe's like friends with his mom and sister now or something. So good on you. Joe. There would have been years, Pat, where we've been like, I'm constructing my card with that player, like Harmon, Denny.
Yeah, like
a full card of that guy.
But I think that's where the value is going to lie this week, unless you really do think it's going to be the better version of those players, like Fitz and Tommy, because that's what Fitz and Tommy are. They're the better Morikawa, the better versions of like the kind of jabronis that we like to bet on a week-to-week basis. But I do think at this course in particular that everyone's kind of live. Like, is Bryce Garnett in this field?
No, but Toasty is.
I'm pretty sure Bryce Garnett is in this field, by the way. He is. There he is. 500-1.
500-1.
Okay, do you think it's kind of weird that Seamus Power is 400-1? What about Mr. Heritage himself, Webb Simpson? Are these guys complete just write-offs?
Yeah, Webb's an afterthought. He's like a ceremonial golfer now.
What about your guy, Eckroat?
I don't mind that. Miscut had a tough bit of a go.
Dietrich, 150?
Even Taylor Moore hitting those small greens. He finished 20th place.
He did. I like Taylor Moore better at a place where scrambling means something, because he is a bad iron player. Iron player.
How much can I get for Corey Connors?
He's 50-1.
That's not horrible based on what they price him at weekly.
I agree, but can he win a putting contest?
Fuck the putting.
But maybe, I mean, these greens, so there's I think it's the fewest amount of 3 putts. I've done less research for this week because I didn't do the research show that I normally do because we were watching the Masters, doing live Masters stuff. Hard to do the research show from here. But I know these are very small greens, some of the fewest amount of 3 putts on the PGA Tour to go along with it, mainly because the greens are so small, it's hard to 3-putt them. So there is a premium more on greens and regulation, great iron play, and can you just step up and make some 15-footers? Because that's, like, think about the guys when we hit Webb as a winner here, coming out of COVID. That really was a big thing for the Pat Mayo experience and us, because I think we hit 3 winners in a row. We hit him, DJ at the Travelers the next week, and then Morikawa at the Workday.
I didn't have Morikawa, but I had 2 to 3.
I remember having Morikawa here one year, too, when Stuart Sink absolutely put him in a body bag on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, and that was the week after the May. That was the crazy Dave Tyndall tout.
Yeah.
That, some stat of...
Yeah, if you came 17th at...
Yeah, something.
Whatever it was.
Look forward to reading Dave's piece this
think
week.
about, like, the Corey Connors path to victory here is the Stuart Sink path. Like, Stuart Sink's a terrible putter. But all he did was just step up. He hit every fairway. And it's not even necessarily about fairways at Harbour Town. It's understanding where to put it on the hole. Like, sometimes it's much better to be in the right rough than it is on the left part of the fairway, because you might have trees in your way on the left part of the fairway, and you take on too much. So angles mean a ton at this course, for one thing, and just step up and hit everything to 20 feet, and maybe you'll make some putts. Because if you do start missing greens, scrambling is a little bit difficult here. It's just so many people hit so many greens in regulation. It's almost, I mean, Akshay isn't a terrible look here either.
Akshay is not a terrible look. You mentioned Henley. There's a whole group of players, but at the same time, with it being elevated,
does that translate? Because it hasn't.
Can, like, I'm going to name two players who I might be looking at, but can, like, the Ludwig, Cam Young types who, like, maybe bully this place and have a lot of success?
We saw a little bit of that in 2020 coming out of COVID because Brooks kind of did that, Rory kind of did that, but they didn't end up in the top 10. Like, listen, Scottie can come out and dominate this course. That's kind of what you're hedging against. I'm not really worried about anyone who's not Scottie just coming out and laying the wood to everyone.
Yeah, I would.
Like, if Rory is on Sunday and it's Rory versus, I don't know, Chris Kirk.
Who's all Chris Kirk, Brendan Todd's, like...
Yeah, like, I feel like those guys are live against Rory on a Sunday here. I mean, I would give the lean to Rory, as would the odds book, but I don't feel like I'm dead where it felt like Homa, Ludwig, and Morikawa were, like, dead after 5 holes against Scheffler yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different feeling.
Of those players, like, I know Fleetwood's in a bit of a different category, but, like, Morikawa...
I can't believe people are lining up to bet Fleetwood at 20-1. It blows my mind. Like, have you learned nothing over the past 10 years?
Fleetwood, and hey, you can't even blame me. I haven't been able to bet. So it's not me. It's someone else.
I mean, I get it. He's cuss one and done.
Okay. What Fleetwood's in a bit of a different category, but do you take, like, how much, like, Homa and Morikawa clearly found something last week that we've been hoping they, like, find for a while.
Mm-hmm. I'd be more willing to go to Morikawa. Like this, I like the Pete Dye collection of courses. Always felt like the best Morikawa courses because he would just hit fairways and just iron everyone to death, and he'd make enough of the putts that it wouldn't matter.
The funny thing is, people are like the people that came in, like the Saturday night 17-1s, like drunk guys in the casino we were talking to who wanted to get in on the golf. They were all in on the Morikawa. They thought that was the best value. They probably watched Sunday being like, this fucking guy couldn't hit a putt, not respecting the fact that, like, he hit every putt, it felt like, for 2 days. Like, his putting stats were clearly positive last week, right?
It's the 4th year in a row, I believe, at the Masters, Morikawa has gained across all 4 strokes gained categories. Like, he's got that place kind of figured. Not enough to win yet, but it's no different than, like, looking at what Rahm's lead-up was until he won. You just see it's like, oh, it's 4th and 9th and 8th and 7th and then a win. Morikawa's stat sheet is starting to look like that.
Yeah.
Burns?
He looks... No, not for me. His wife's closer to the baby than even Scottie.
Yeah, that was untalked about last week. Burns actually in danger of leaving the course. And having to withdraw.
He did leave the course.
He did leave the course pretty. Maybe that's why. Maybe he knew. He's like, yeah, I got to get out of here. I'll shoot 85 over par. Don't worry about it. I can't believe people didn't bet on Tiger to make the cut. I was surprised. I mean, he was the linchpin of that to make the cut parlay was Tiger.
Well, yeah, he doubled it up, essentially.
Yeah. Anyone from deeper down here? Like, this always felt like a really good Hadwin course to me. And I feel like Hadwin's odds used to always get crushed here over and over. And then everyone would bet him at like 35-1. He'd miss the cut or something like that. Kitayama's another one. There's a sneaky good week at the Masters. Coastal course, where we always like Kitayama. And he's played really well at Pebble as well, another like shorter type course. And there is one name that I most definitely will be betting.
Pebble?
That is beyond 100-1 because I just saw it. I assumed his odds would be much worse than this. I mean, not a whole lot of respect for Lucas Glover, who won the Wyndham Championship last year. And just played pretty well at the Masters.
Yeah, he got it to 2 under on Saturday. Yeah, there's a couple guys back here. Shank, 110. Pavon, 110.
Maybe. I prefer Glover to all these guys.
Pavon is, like, I don't know. He's a player.
Pavon played really well. I mean, you saw the Tory stuff come out this week. Højgaard played really well. Pavon played really well. Even Knapp ended up making the cut and playing pretty well. Tiger commented, one of the best swings he's ever seen.
Who?
Knapp.
Really? I missed.
I mean, you see it when he hits it well. You're like, whoa, who's this guy? And then obviously Ludwig ends up inside the top 10 at Torrey. He played really well. Max is 1. at Torrey Pines. Morikawa was inside the top 5 of the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. So we always think about Riv, and I do think that Riv is more of a direct corollary to this. But I wouldn't. I mean, Tiger won so many Masters. He won so many Torrey Pines as well. Never won at Riv in his life.
Crazy. Never won a Riv. I don't know. We can go like super deep. We're gonna
Well,
go for
let's.
the,
I feel like this is just a different way than we normally structure the show of going through the top and bottom, because there's certain pockets that I wanted to talk about here. I'm good, like, from the top, I don't know who the hell I want, if I want anyone. Like, I'm good with taking a few, like, 5 shots from Lowry at 60-1 and beyond this week. Like, do I really need to have a 22-1 Matt Fitzpatrick? I mean, if he's the winner, I would most definitely want to have him.
No,
but,
you don't need to, but...
Like, Clark looks like a good number to me at 28.
Weird.
Thigala at 40 might be the number for me. Or even Finau. Can he putt? He can't putt.
He's really been in a weird way. I know people probably be annoyed that I'm going to do this again, not just to bring it up in conversation, but we didn't go with this angle. Isn't Cam Young, like, historically been very strong on short courses?
I feel like he's been historically good everywhere. He just doesn't
like
win.
Cognizant, Valspar, like, he's been very good at putting it in the right place, and there's always not enough birdies out there for him to win. But I feel like you assume the game fit, like, obviously fit so well on like huge tracks, but his ability on the shorter courses, I feel, and maybe to your point, it's every course.
I mean,
maybe to your point, it's every course.
I feel like that's the Ludwig thing. Ludwig, I mean, he just played really well at the Masters and Torrey Pines, but it always seems like his best numbers have come at shorter courses. He wins the RSM, which is, I mean, the same basic location as this place. So if you've done well with the RSM, that's one that Kisner won too, by the way.
Yeah, and he lost to Streb in a playoff. Pissed me off.
Yes, he did.
Pissed me off.
Let's see. Yeah, Cognizant, 4th, Valspar, 2nd. I mean, although the Valspar is sneaky long. Masters, long. Phoenix, long. Yeah, John Deere, Cam Young was 6th. Masters, 7th.
I know he wasn't great at the Canadian Open last year, which was short.
He was 3rd at the Heritage 2 years ago.
I might be 33-1. I might be just jumping in and get made fun of on Twitter. I don't care.
Yeah, but from this point on, let's say you were new to Cam Young betting, and you just bet him at 33-1 every single week.
You're gonna get your money. You're gonna get home. You're gonna get home.
He's gonna win once in the next 18 months. He has to. But once he starts getting to be like 18-1 is when I would, because I mean I kind of had the 40 number because I ended up betting him last week at 66-1. Yeah. So I've kind of had the thing of if he's 40-1 or above, I'm good with it. Anything lower than that, although this is a condensed field, so maybe I kind of want to do it, but maybe I won't get there. Just would
you rather Cam or Wyndham?
Wyndham. I think the answer to that has to be Wyndham.
I guess it's hard.
He just wins.
It's hard for me to make a factual argument on that other than something I want to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's maybe I'd bet both of them.
Well, to look at it this way, for some perspective on this, so the best number on market is 33 for Cam Young. Most numbers are 28-1. Just keep that in mind. So let's say 28-1. We double that up. That's 56-1. Would you rather have Cam Young, or would you rather have 2 of Lowry, Tom Kim, Davis, Bhatia, Kirk, Connors, Day, Harman? So you have 2 of those guys or 1 Cam Young. I think I'd rather have the 2 guys at this course, and just hope one of them putts well, like Harman and Lowry, for example. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you mean. I don't know that's.
What about Harris English? Doesn't he seem like a type? Like, he shockingly good Masters as well. Very sneakily had a decent Masters. I put the odds in front of us so you didn't have to be just staring at your phone the entire time. But now I'm looking
at the one book I could actually maybe make a bet, and I don't even see where Shane Lowry is.
Did he withdraw from this tournament? You probably have to go down. They probably have him at like 33-1 or something.
Oh, they better not.
Yeah, I don't see him there.
I'm going to refresh that.
It's okay. You don't need to make bets during the course of the show. We're almost done.
I'm excited.
I get that. Maybe it's good for you to take a day off. Like,
healthy.
You can make bets in 6 hours when you land back home. How about that?
50-1.
50-1?
No, on that book. The book I can get. No. We'll wait.
We'll
fly. We'll fly.
You're going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll be great.
Did we give too much up on... Is this... Okay, so now I want to reverse engineer this a little bit, because I just noticed a name that I hadn't really considered for this course. I wonder how he's played here. over time. I'm not that torn to course history here because guys have popped up with poor course history and done really well.
How about Ricky Fowler?
No, I'm not talking about Ricky Fowler. I can assure you that. Is he even in these elevated events?
I saw he was in the field.
Tom Hoagie.
Yeah, he's been...
Who drives, hits irons, and putts, just literally chips himself out of every tournament. Could this be the type of tournament where that doesn't make a difference?
Yeah, no, he would fit that list, of, like that profile of list of, I don't want to call him a plotter, but...
He has missed the cut 4 of the past 5 years and has a top 25. Not his jam here, but that might not stop me. I'm really digging this like 50 to 150 range far more this week than I would be in a normal elevated event, because I do still think that out of all the elevated events, maybe Pebble is a little bit different, but we only got 3 rounds at Pebble, that I think that there's more variance at this for lesser talented players because driving is less of a skill here, potentially. Like maybe if Rory comes out and gains 7 strokes on the field and drives 3 greens, which is unlikely, then yeah, sure, then driving's going to make a big deal. But all those other guys who have great iron play, great around the greens, and are great putters are at less of an advantage than they are at Bay Hill or they are at Memorial, where driving at 335 is kind of necessary. I just thinking back of all the names that we've kind of thrown out here, because I can't make any bets either, unless they post them at Circa, although I don't want to come like fly back down to cash a ticket. Just wait till I get home. I think I like Denny.
Yeah. He is the...
That's never good. I'm making fun of people for betting on Fleetwood. I'm going to bet Denny. Like, what am I talking about here? We haven't done this show together in so long, by the way.
He is the profile. Denny is that classic heritage profile, non-elevated field, who you'd absolutely be betting. Who has shown an ability to play, I don't know, he's been in the hunt in some big things.
Hoagie gained 6 strokes on approach at the Players. Gained 5 on the greens and lost almost 10 off the tee.
But even his approach is, and
Look
the way
at
he's
just
been
green, and the putting's been good.
The putting's been insane. In Texas, he was putting lights out.
And he had to putt lights out because he left every chip at 30 feet away. And this isn't that type of course where it gets that difficult around the green. So, yeah, Hoagie, Denny, these are the type of names that I'm gravitating towards. Maybe Harmon, maybe Lowry, maybe Chris Kirk. Ben Ann was another one that I gave a shout to that I don't mind here. So that's probably the range that I'm going to be in. There is one name who kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. You dropped your mic clip there. Sungjae 75-1. He does seem broken. But like this would have been a short Bermuda course. Yeah. This is like where we used to love Sungjae.
Yeah. He is broken, though.
He's broken? He's Matt Hardy of the PGA Tour?
Yeah, he's broke.
Glover is the other one. So yeah, I think quick picks wise, I mean, I can't really give you the quick picks. I have no bets in so far. But what the strategy that I'm looking at here for an elevated event is going to be Lucas Glover, Tom Hoagie, Denny McCarthy, Shane Lowry, Ben Ann. Like those 5, I think. I mean, that starts at 60-1. So there's plenty of room for others here. You?
Yeah, for me it's closer. Willie Z, Cam Young. I like Connors, Denny, Lowry. That I think is where I'm looking. And the Ben Ann shout, who I don't think is getting the dip that other guys who played just as well as him last week and have gotten, but he's been playing more consistent extendedly. But I trust him probably less than anyone to actually win. Like, truly less than anyone.
That would be a very interesting power rankings.
Trust less than anyone.
Like
Yeah, let's do it.
Good players.
Not today, but let's do it.
Good players that you just don't like. Eric Cole has to be on that list. Like if he's in contention, he's just not going to win. I mean, Denny is the king of this. Maybe he can break that this week and cash his check.
I think if Denny and Ben got into a playoff, I'd lean Denny.
I don't know. You know, it might just hit in the water.
Buddy, 4 feet at Sony for a win or fuck.
You can't beat undisputed champion of the world, Grayson Murray. It's too tough. Can't do it. Should we talk about Corrales?
Then he's probably like...
Actually, no. One and done for the week. Cuss is taking Fleetwood. You hit Scheffler last week, so that's good.
Yeah.
You're back in the race with me now. You might even be winning. I'll take Lowry if I haven't taken him. I don't have the list in front of me. I'll message the guy who keeps track of this for us, and I'll re-up in the newsletter on Wednesday when I do the show with Tambo. There's no golf show tomorrow because it's a travel day still. Like, we don't land till like 3 a.m. or something. But there is a brand new Cuss Corner coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned on the feed. Then I'll be back in studio Wednesday with Tambo, and I'll have the final bets, the final one and done for everything. But I'm leaning Lowry right now.
You are leaning Lowry.
Because it's still worth a lot of money here. Like, Fitz, I think, is going to be the most popular guy.
I didn't use him yet. I'm not betting him. I'll take Siwoo.
You take Siwoo?
Yeah.
So we're all leaving like big names at the top here.
I don't want to take Cantley. Maybe I should be taking Cantley, but I don't want to.
What are you going to save him for? Memorial?
I don't know. More consistent, like a true sign that he's fine. You think like players like Cantley, Morikawa, Homa, they're so good that one good start should mean they're fine, but I don't know. I'm mentally not there.
How is Nikolai Højgaard not in the Heritage?
I don't know.
He's at Corrales. Let's talk Corrales very quickly. If you were someone who's like Tommy Fleetwood, 18-1, take my money because he's going to win, do I have the sucker bet for you of the year of Alex Noren, 14-1 to win at Corrales? You're not laughing. You want to bet that, don't you?
No, I was looking if Mav McNeely was playing Corrales.
No, he was here. We saw him on the weekend.
Yeah, but
he was at Summerlin.
Yeah, but he was getting ready for Corrales. They don't travel on Friday to a golf tournament the next week.
I traveled to Dominican Republic to make sure all my stuff was there. But I'm a warrior like
Your
that.
boy Matty Schmidt, I'm seeing 60.
That's where I was going to lead. Like, he's just... When was the last time you looked at a leaderboard through 3 days and Matty Schmidt wasn't on it?
Yeah. I don't know if you want the Davis Thompson wagon.
No, I don't. It's funny because I feel like I was one of the first people on Davis Thompson.
You might have
been. I just gave up. Like, I went through. It's like, nah, not doing that anymore.
I don't know. God, I don't know how these guys are playing, so I feel silly shouting them out.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. Is Gotterup horrible right now?
Gotterup is up. I mean, all these guys are up and down. There's a reason that they're playing in Corrales this week.
Justin Suh, but now I'm just naming the players we
that
saw.
we saw at the course practicing?
Yeah.
Like, to look at it, Nate Lashley just played, like, do you just go back? Because Bryce Garnett won the other one, right?
Yeah.
And Bryce Garnett's been, like, the king of the island courses throughout the past 10 years. Does Nate Lashley just pick one of these off? Because he's good in Puerto Rico. He's good at Dominican. He'll be good at the other one that comes up. Ben Martin has been top 10 here each of the past 3 years. I believe the last time we saw him at Valero, like, he came inside the top 10 very sneakily as well. Like, Vic Perez has been playing some pretty good golf. Yeah, Ben Martin was 7th at Valero. So maybe...
Interesting.
What are Ben Martin's odds? Like, Lashley, Perez, Ben Martin. Ben Martin's 40-1. I don't want to bet that. Like, I'm not going to bet... I've been betting Bud Colley at 160-1. I don't super want to back him at 45-1. So for me... Man, people were betting Joel Damon at like 45-1 2 weeks ago in like a real event, and now he's 55-1. People were like, "Nah, can't do that." So that seems strange to me.
Yeah, Sam Ryder, Carl Young, but I got no vibe. I'm on a Masters hangover. To think about the C crew right now.
Schmidt is the first one that just jumped out to me immediately. Of like those long of odds at this course, he played really well in Puerto Rico as well. That might just be the play.
For me, I would be one of those suckers who would probably go back in on Davis Thompson. So Davis Thompson and Matty would probably be the two guys that I'm looking at.
Thirsty Lawrence and Alex Fitzpatrick are playing in this field. Thirsty is 66-1. Alex Fitzpatrick is 80-1. And Taylor Pendrith, 70-1 in this field.
I might do that just blind, but he's not been
good?
Not been very good.
Parker Cootie. Oh, Rico Hui? There's a guy I've been betting too.
Rico Hui.
He's 100-1.
I think he might have also been, I don't know. Scott was saying he might have been at Summerlin. I'm not sure.
Rico, who? Uncle Rico?
Yeah.
Scott Piercy was there. We saw Piercy missing 10-foot putts like it was his job.
It is.
What Wilson Feu? There's some guys in the back end of this field.
Your Cooties? Both of them or just one of them?
I think I like Parker Cootie over Pearson Cootie. Might have to do this Adrien Dumont de Châtelet as well at 275. Wasn't he like 8th in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, blindly betting him when he's monster numbers. I think will work out one day. I think.
Maybe it will work out this week. So I'll have all of this broken down in the newsletter on Wednesday. And the show that I do with Tambo on Wednesday as well. I'll release all this. I don't plan to be like a ton of money on Corrales, but I do think that there are some big numbers. Like even Nico Echeverria
He's been playing well.
He's been playing all right. He's 150 to 1 in this field. It seems too big if Alex Noren's going to be the favorite. And how is Alex Noren the favorite over Nikolai?
That's a good question. I do not have
Did you do that? Do you have secret Noren bets?
Not a chance.
Secret Noren futures at Corrales?
Not a chance. Not a chance. No one has come through less as the favorite in the
Is he the
offset tournaments than Alex Noren.
Is
like
he-
over our history of doing the shows.
Ben Ann, Denny, or Noren? And you can't count his Euro wins because Ben Ann won at Wentworth.
Yeah, but he won so did Noren, and Noren won a lot on Europe.
He won like 5 times.
I think it was like close to like 7, but
How many of them were the Nordia Masters?
I would take Noren over Ben Ann in a I trust Noren to win more than Ben Ann. I think Ben Ann is just like he'll be over the putt and he'll be thinking about drafting the tweet.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience from the Circa Stadium Swim behind us. Everyone come down, check it out. If you are in Vegas, they were tremendous to us the entire week. We're able to do all the shows. Highly recommend that you come here. Also, I highly recommend that you sign up for Underdog Fantasy using code Mayo. That helps out the show. You smash the like. That helps out the show. And rate and review. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast and video versions. It was fun to do the show in person with you. It's been a while.
I guess our next big event will be the Custies.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I hope.
And then President's Cup, yeah.
Nervous?
I haven't seen the results yet, so I don't know what you're up to there. G. Fienberg, 17 on Twitter. At the PME on X, formerly known as Twitter. Sub to the free newsletter down in the description as well. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!